Hey, P1 here, back from the Midwest Gaming Classic, and I just wanted to take a second to talk about the show. So, I went to the Midwest Gaming Classic in Milwaukee, Wisconsin this weekend. I stayed with It's Rocket Sauce from the Cartridge Club, Ryan Gorman. As well, staying at his place, we had Musty Hobbit and Dean Lasagna and Chris the bass guy. It was a pretty good time. So the flight went good. Landed in on Thursday. Musty picked me up and then went straight to Ryan's house and hung out there for the day. Friday morning, Musty went to see his folks, and Ryan and I sort of bummed around town till lunchtime when we met up with the Q-Dogs and Melissa's brother, also named Eric. We all hung out that night. We went out and had dinner at a place called 42 Ale House. We were joined by Church the Game Grinder, Old Ass Retro Gamer, and Jason from Corpse Flood Gaming, as well as a couple of Ryan's buddies, Brad and Jim. And this is where I got my first pickup of the convention. My first, best, and biggest pickup, I guess you could say. And that was the Bayonetta Climax Edition from Japan. So why this is a big deal is because it's the only way to get a physical copy of Bayonetta 1 for the Switch. So I was really excited for that because Bayonetta is a franchise that Colleen and I both really enjoy playing. So as well, then I got another pickup. It was in the form of gifts, I guess. It was a combination from Musty Hobbit and the Q-Dogs, and it was a ton of Animal Crossing amiibo. So my collection of Animal Crossing amiibo went from 0 to 13 of 16 in roughly the span of 20 minutes. So now I'm just missing 3 of them. The only ones I don't have are Kix, Blathers, and the summer suit, or the winter suit Isabelle that you had to buy separately. I'm going to hopefully pick those up in Europe. So then the convention came. It was a good time. It was busy. A lot of people there. Convention center was huge. So they had a big vendor floor. We went, spent a lot of time there. All the other guys spent a lot of money, bought a lot of games. I won't spoil their pickups. I only picked up 2 things at the actual, 2 games of the actual convention. One was Final Fantasy for the NES, and another one was Looney Tunes B-Ball for the Super Nintendo. And that one got added to my list. Eric and I were at the Ale House the other night before, and he was like, "So what's your strategy? What are you looking for?" And I said, "Really, my games are just a decoration. So to me, it doesn't really make sense to pick up a bunch of games that I'm not going to play unless they have some sort of meaning." And Looney Tunes B-Ball had some meaning to me because it's a game that P2 and I played down the charity stream. We had a lot of fun playing it, especially because I kicked his ass. And so that was that. Those were my 2 pickups there. And then I got a bunch of artwork from this table that was there, and I really enjoyed that. I got some for P2 as well. I just realized he's in the room with me while I'm recording this, so I'm going to give it to him right afterwards. But I got some really nice prints. And really enjoyed that. The artwork was what I got most of the time there. That was day 1. So day 1 ended. We all went back to Ryan's house, had some drinks, relaxed a bit, and had a good time. So while other people from the club were there collecting games, I was just sort of collecting memories and friendships, like a weird little memory collector. And then the next day came, and we had our first ever Cartridge Club panel. We talked about building a community, and we heard some stories from Rocket Sauce and Eric and Musty on sort of how they found the club and what got them in, what keeps them around. As well, Dean talked about some of the fundamental things that he thinks are really important to maintaining an excellent online community, building relationships, not content, and focusing on the people and not likes, comments, and subscribes. So we had our panel. It went great. We had a 45-minute time slot allotted, and the panel ran 45 minutes and 24 seconds. Feeling exceptionally happy with the efficiency of the club panel. And then after that, Musty had a panel with some other Midwest YouTubers, the guys that met us at the 42 Ale House. It was the Old Ass Retro Gamer, Church, and Jason from Corpse Flood Gaming. And those are both. That was a good time as well to check out. So if you have a chance, I know that the Cartridge Club panel will be uploaded to the Cartridge Club YouTube channel at some point, so maybe check that out. And I don't know what the plan is for the Midwest YouTubers panel. So after that, it was basically just hang out and wait to leave. So we hung out. Now, this is the part that I find really amusing. So it started snowing on Sunday in Milwaukee, which sucks. It's April, right? We're getting snow. I didn't even bring a jacket. I just had a hoodie. So everybody's there who's getting ready to leave. Scott, VG Collectaholic, and his... I don't know if I can mention who he was there with, so I won't. Scott and his guest where they had a flight Sunday as well. Eric from Game vs. Game had a flight Sunday, and Julian Vega was also driving out Sunday. The snow's terrible, the weather's garbage, so these guys' flights gets canceled. So their flights get canceled. Julian does manage to drive out. Thankfully, he was safe. He got home okay. So the next morning comes around. I'm getting a little nervous because I have to get home in order to go to work Tuesday. So it's Monday. Chris goes to Milwaukee Airport. Scott heads back to Milwaukee Airport, and the Q-Dogs were in Chicago. So the Q-Dogs let us know right away they flew to Chicago, no problem. I was feeling pretty good because my flight was also from Chicago, so that was sort of a good feeling for me. I started to feel okay about that. And then we started getting updates from Scott at Milwaukee, and he was on the tarmac for 4.5 hours waiting for the de-ice's plane. So his flight that was supposed to leave at 7 o'clock, I think it was, didn't leave till like 11. Poor Chris, his flight got rerouted from Detroit to Atlanta, but his baggage didn't get rerouted, so his baggage ended up in LaGuardia while he was in Atlanta, and then he had to fly from Atlanta to D.C. I think he got his baggage back today. So his travel home was misery. Flights canceled, delayed, rerouted. Scott's as well. So we had breakfast, me, Dean, and Musty, and I was like, okay, Musty, I want to go to the airport early. My flight wasn't scheduled till 4 p.m., which would have got me home at about 11:30 p.m., just about midnight, which isn't a great time for Colleen and I because, well, frankly, we're early, but we go to bed early. We're old people. So I said, Musty, I want to get to the airport. I just want to get there, settle the nerves, make sure that I know that everything's okay for the flight. And I showed up at 10 o'clock. Well, it's a good thing that I did. We left Ryan's at 10, which got me there at about 11:30. And I heard over the intercom as I was sitting waiting for my flight, anybody who's scheduled for the 3:55 flight to Montreal, we have available seats on the 1 o'clock flight. If you'd like to get on that instead, you can come see me at the desk. Well, I jumped at it. And maybe it doesn't connect me home sooner, but at least I'm back in Canada. So if anything happens with O'Hare, I don't have to worry about it. So I took the flight, got there. As soon as I got off the plane, I went right to the customer service desk before I even hit customs and asked if I could possibly get on the standby list for the upcoming flight, which would have been at 6:30 Montreal time, to get me home for 9 o'clock my time as opposed to midnight my time. And the customer service guy was like, no, there's already 20 names on the list. You're never going to get called. I'm sorry, you can't go on standby. I was like, well, okay, that sucks. So I went through customs, I went and got my boarding pass, I went and I sat at my terminal for my 6-hour wait at this point, I guess, for my scheduled flight. As I was sitting there, I was texting my ex. She works for Air Canada. And I told her what happened, and she said that what he told me was actually kind of bullshit, because she has been number 28 on the list before for standby and gotten called. So she said she suggested going to see another customer service rep and talking to them and explaining that I didn't have any checked bags and seeing what they could do. And so I did. And the lady I spoke to the second time, super great. She put me on on standby for the flight that was leaving at 6:30, but I had to go to the gate number 5. Now, if you're familiar with Trudeau Airport, I was at gate 65. Gate 5 is literally the farthest point from gate 65 you can be and still be in the same airport. So it was like a 15-minute walk from gate to gate. So I walk down there, I sit down, I'm waiting, I see a lot of people, and I start talking to some of them, and they're all there on standby. Well, it turns out you can go on the app, the Air Canada app, and actually see the standby list. I was number 14. So A, the customer service guy lied to me, and B, I was feeling pretty good about 14. And then they started boarding. So they board the plane, everybody gets on, and they get to the point where they're like, okay, everybody should be boarded, last call for boarding. If you're not here, you're not on. All right, we're doing standbys. So they start going down the list, bang, 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 bang. They get through 6, pause, they get through 6, pause, 6 and then 10, pause. So then they call passenger Wilson. I was like, hey, that's me. I jump up, hello, I'm right here. There's another Wilson. He stands up, and I was like, sugar tits. So I looked at the app right quick, and I saw that this guy, whose initial was D, because it doesn't give you the last name, just the first 3 initials, so D Will, he was 2 spots ahead of me. So I knew right then that it was going to be him. So they took him on the plane. So now I'm really sweating it. I'm anxious, I'm nervous, and there's other people there who are waiting, who are below me on the list now, who are up to the list is up to 20, 25. They call the next guy, so the guy right in front of me. As he's walking up to the terminal, 2 old blue hairs come running up. A man and a woman. Oh, we're sorry we're late. We were eating our meal and our dessert came late. And I'm like, you're sitting here in the restaurant eating a meal and you got a flight coming? Come on, man. You're ordering dessert? What are you doing? So they show up. They're, apologizing. So the guy who was ahead of me, I talked to him after. He thought he was getting bumped. He was like, I'm not going to make it. These two people are taking the seats. So they got their seats scanned. They got on the plane. They still had room for the guy in front of me. So at this point, I'm holding my breath. It's either I'm on this flight or the flight's leaving. And the woman at the counter looked up and she said, okay, we'll take the other Wilson. And I was like, I've never been happier to be the other Wilson in my entire life. So I got on the plane. So I got home at 9, Vice midnight. So I got home like 2.5 hours early. And my travel experience was fantastic. I want to say thanks to O'Hare. I want to say thanks to Trudeau Airport. And I want to say big thanks to Air Canada for hooking me up. And it sucks that my friends had these horror stories happen and these nightmare flight experiences. And mine was like, it was great. It couldn't have been more perfect. I felt like a Disney princess. And, my Prince Charming just kept hooking me up. So I got home and Colleen came to pick me up and she brought the dogs, which was great because I wasn't expecting that. And that was my day. I went to work today and got promoted. So that was my weekend at the the Midwest Gaming Classic in Milwaukee. I had a ton of fun. I really hope that I can go next year. We'll see if my work schedule lines up with it. And maybe even get Mark to come with me, P2. Who knows? We'll see. But right now I'm just shooting to try and get him to Portland in 2019. But again, that's up in the air as well because he doesn't like to do stuff. All right, that's all I got for this video, folks. Hopefully you see another one soon. And if you don't, thanks for checking this one out. P1. CCU night.